Hello everybody, my name is Gabriel Zufall, and this is my presentation for Econ 201A. So, the article that I am critiquing today is called Macroeconomics of Populism. The volume title is The Macroeconomics of Populism in Latin America, but I'm just doing an article inside that volume because I don't want to read hundreds of pages. The article that I picked was about 6 pages long. It was a very nice read, it was very enjoyable, and I'll give you a little bit of background on it. This is just more volume information. It was actually, well, this is in my next slide, but it was actually a speech that was given at a conference in Latin America on May 18th and May 19th in the year 1990 is when this speech was given. And it's all about populism in Latin America. What the authors say about it is that basically populism does not work. There are too many outside forces, like foreign trade, like fiscal policy, like greed, and there's too many factors that come into play to make the idea of populism work. Even though it is very appealing. I'm sure we would all love to live in a world where everybody is equal, nobody struggles, nobody is too rich, nobody is too poor, and we all can get along. But that's not the way it works. Like we learned in our last chapter of reading, we have unlimited wants with not unlimited resources, and trying to spread those resources over a wide, over the whole population, while it is a good idea, everybody's still going to want more. And that wanting more after you already have what you wanted is what kind of crashes populism into the ground. And definitions. Really all you need to know is populism. It supports the idea, wants, and concerns of ordinary people. Ordinary people being the normal population, not the Bill Gates of the world. Okay, the title of the article, Macroeconomics of Populism. I was confused because I didn't know what populism was. Maybe I'm stupid, but I thought the title was unclear because it did not define populism or macroeconomics, but I'm in macroeconomics, so I know what that means. But I believe a good writer should define their vocabulary, and they didn't do it. They eventually defined populism, but it wasn't until like the third or fourth page of the article. They should have done it like right off the bat so I knew what they were talking about, but they didn't. They could even put it in the title, or like I said, they could have put it in later in the article, but they failed to do that, so I found the title confusing. There was no abstract because it was a speech. It would be extremely odd to break out a speech with an abstract. So yeah, no abstract for this. The purpose of this article was to come together as a group and to better understand why populism was not working, not only in Latin America, but why it just doesn't work, period. And the purpose of the article was made clear. The points that it made, not really all that clear because they didn't back them up with solid evidence, but the purpose was definitely clear. Errors of interpretation. So I don't think the authors interpreted this next quote that's on the next screen right, because it completely contradicts their point as to why populism does not work. Here's that quote. I'm not going to read the first half because I don't know how to read that. An examination of the Peruvian record reveals that periods of moderate inflation are associated with expansionary fiscal policy, and periods of major inflation are associated with fiscal restraint. And they were saying that fiscal restraint leads to limited inflation, which is, the exact opposite of that last statement there. And they were saying the exact opposite of the first part of that quote as their point. So now that I'm reading it, maybe I read it wrong, but I had my peers read it. I had two of my friends read it, and I read it, and they both said that that also contradicted that. So I'm not really sure why they put that in there. Was the discussion relevant? Yes, they never strayed off topic. But they didn't do a very good job of really explaining their topic either, because there was really no solid evidence that proved their point. It was more commentary and stories, and it was almost like they're summarizing a bunch of books and then just talking about it without proving or explaining things. They were just like, this is what we know, and that's it. There wasn't any. They didn't convince me why populism doesn't work. I still have a bunch of questions about it. Did the author cite only pertinent literature? They did cite what was relevant, which is what pertinent means, but it wasn't necessarily important. They wound up citing the definition of populism. They wound up doing that, which I guess was important, but it should have been done way earlier. And they cited two quotes that that were just like time periods in Peru and Chile. They didn't make good use of their citations at all, and it was kind of a letdown. And like I said before, there was no actual evidence to prove why populism doesn't work and why it will never work. And for what needs expansion or what needs to be taken away, then, like I said, evidence, evidence, evidence. I'm a big believer in numbers and statistics and how everything adds up. I need to make that connection, and I didn't get that from this article. And I was also confused because he said in the article that foreign exchange hurts populism. And he just kind of keeps saying that foreign exchange and loose fiscal policy and trade, how all that is not good for populism, but he doesn't say why. So like I said, still a lot of questions. I'm glad to know that it does, but why does it? And how do I connect those dots? My thoughts on this, I like the idea of populism. I think that it kind of goes back to, I'm a big country song fan. I'm a big, I love country music. And a lot of the stories, there's a song by Kenny Chesney, I forget the title of it, but it just talks about why can't we all get along and why can't we all live in happiness amongst each other. Kind of like the idea of utopia. And while I think it would have its disadvantages, I think we would be a lot happier if we all had the same thing so we all could be better than each other. And I think, but sometimes, it's nice. I like to live differently, but sometimes I think the world would be better off if we were all a little more the same. I understand why it won't work, because if we all want something, say we all want a taco, and we all get a taco, then we're like, great, I have this taco now, but now I want a churro with that taco. And then the cycle just keeps going on and on. Like I said in our previous chapter that we read 1 and 2, it was talking about how we have unlimited wants. And if we have unlimited wants and not unlimited resources, then really no economic system is going to work perfectly. But the one that's going to be the worst for us is populism if we have unlimited wants, which we do. And like I said a million times before, I think the article should have more facts, but I do think It was a good read. I think it was really well laid out. I think it made a great speech. Great speech. But it did not make a good article. Okay, that's all I have on that. Thank you very much for listening. Please leave any comments or critiques that you guys have. I am not very good at presenting. So, yes, please leave any critiques that you guys have so I can learn and be better for next time. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.